Good afternoon, class. Today we're going to begin with a recap from yesterday's lesson to transition in today's lesson. As we learned yesterday, we learned the FIT principle and the My Plate eating habit. So as we discussed in class, FIT stands for frequency, intensity, type, and time. Frequency was the amount of days we were supposed to work out a week. It was ranging from 3 to 5. Intensity was whether we're doing moderate or vigorous exercise. This ultimately influenced frequency due to the fact that whether we're doing moderate or vigorous would influence the amount of days. If we're doing moderate exercise, it would be 5 times a week for 30 minutes, which again would go into time because we're doing it for 30 minutes. Vigorous, on the other hand, would be three workouts for 25 minutes, so that would be 75 minutes in time. The difference between moderate and vigorous is moderate uses 50% of your VO2 max and vigorous uses 70 plus of your VO2 max. The easiest way to figure out whether you're doing vigorous or moderate exercise is you can carry a conversation usually during moderate exercise, and during vigorous you have troubles saying sentences or phrases. You usually just say words if you can. But these is ultimately how we describe your fitness. So, and the last one, I'm sorry, is type, which is what the exercise you're doing. So whether it may be swimming, running, bike riding, or whatever it may be, as long as you're working out, that describes what you're doing. Now our My Plate eating habit is different compared to the food pyramid that we're used to. This is a circle divided into quarters, which is ultimately broken down into the 4 sections, which is fruit, vegetables, grains, and protein. The first quarter is fruits, which many of us do not consume on the proper amount on a daily basis. We're supposed to eat 3 to 4 cups a day of fruit. It can be anything from mangoes to strawberries, kiwis. We just want to arrange it up in colors so we can get different types of vitamins. Most of the people in a Hispanic nature don't really consume the proper amount of fruits, but these we want to make sure we consume them because they give us a lot of sweetness and vegetables and nutrients that vegetables give us, but in a better tasting way compared to vegetables. Vegetables is another quarter, which we're supposed to consume 4 to 6 cups on a daily basis. A person of my weight consumes 4 to 6, but many people in Hispanics do not consume the proper amount of vegetables. Many of us, if anything, eat 1 or 2 cups a day, but we're supposed to consume a lot more. This is one that we lack a lot, and I believe we can improve on it to help our physical fitness because it does provide us with plenty of nutrients. Grains, we're supposed to consume 3 to 4 cups on a daily basis. This one, everyone seems to be eating the proper amount, but what we can do to try to help us in grains is to eat whole wheat or whole grain to ensure that we get the proper amount, the proper nutrients, rather than white or bleached, which minimize the nutrient level in those, such as pasta and spaghetti. Protein is the last one, and we here in Laredo, Texas, seem to overdo it a lot on eating a lot of protein, whether it may be steak, eggs, breakfast tacos, anything really, because we seem to have a lot of barbecues which influence our diet. When eating protein, you want to try to make sure you get the leanest protein. So the leanest ones I recommend are chicken breast and fish. Fish can be either salmon, tilapia, flounder, or cod, and there's plenty of other ones. So try to ensure that it's the leanest protein so you can get the less amount of saturated fat. In proteins, a person of my weight as well should eat 6 to 8 ounces. So can anyone describe to me how we can measure protein without actually getting a weight or scale, just from a point of view? No one remembers? Well, we measure it kind of by like a deck of cards. A deck of cards is 3 to 4 ounces. So I must consume 2 decks of cards a day throughout my whole day to ensure I get the proper amount of protein. So that means breakfast, lunch, and dinner, I would only be able to have two decks of carbs of protein. So that includes eggs, beans, meats, poultry, and fish. So, as we can tell, most of us, as we learned yesterday, raised our hand that we did consume more than that. So we want to make sure we limit that. And our last section is 2 to 3 cups. But can anyone tell me what it is? I'll give you a hint. It starts with a D.
Dessert.
No, not desserts. We're only supposed to eat desserts on special occasions such as birthdays, holidays, and other stuff like that. This one is dairy. Dairy comes from many sources. Can come from many sources such as cheese, yogurt, and milk. But we want to make sure we consume the proper ones as well. Such as in yogurt, we want to try to consume Greek yogurt because it usually has less saturated fat and other bad sources, less sodium, and usually still produces, gives you a good amount of protein and uses non-fat milk and other sources. Milk, we want to use almond milk, which I have found to be the best, almond or soy milk. But if you're going to consume a regular milk, try to keep it a whole milk or a 1%. The lower is the better. And cheese, make sure you use non-fat and low sodium. This provides better. So this is in transition into our lesson today, which is going to help us see our weaknesses in our own personal fitness. So here we're going to discuss and identify the changeable risk factors such as inactivity, smoking, nutrition, and stress in our own physical lives. So what we're going to do today is we're going to create a chart. Each one of you is going to get into a group with some fellow classmates, and we're going to start discussing these changeable factors. And there's plenty of factors that can go into each one, such as inactivity. For myself, I only work out on average 2 or 3 times a day. And I could write for one suggestion, improve to the 2 more times a week, for working out to meet myself to the fit principle. And nutrition as well, I could improve it by eating less protein. And other examples such as like that. We're going to go into smoking and as well into stress. So what we're going to do is create a chart such as this one. That's going to discuss each type of risk factor that we can improve on. Each one, I'm going to require each student to give me at least 3 examples of each one. These examples you're going to have to discuss with your fellow classmates and give me a solution on how you can improve it, why, when, and how long it's going to take you. So this is going to be example of 1 for me. You would write inactivity, one, and workout 2 more times a week. Nutrition, eat less protein. Stress, and this one, stress can come in many ways. I know you are in school right now. We have midterms and final exams, tests, and you all have other classes besides this one. So in stress, we can have ways to help us, such as meditation, as we didn't discuss. And meditation can come in many forms, such as just listening to soft music and sitting down. You don't have to be sitting down as we all think of it. You can just sit down in a quiet place in a chair and you relax your mind for 15 minutes, and this relieves a lot of stress. Many of you do not believe it, but once you try it, you'll see that you become a more relaxed person and live your life more joyfully. Stress can also be reduced by doing yoga. Yoga can be done in not only for women, but as well men. I myself have tried yoga, and it is very relaxing, and it is a good workout as well. Doing yoga is one of the best ways to actually relax your body while doing a workout. So I encourage not only women but men to perform yoga. And other examples like that. Depending on your characteristics, you can describe some of the stress. And smoking is the last one. Now, many people here, being that we're in high school, do not smoke. I know, because we're underage. But can anyone give me an example of how smoking can affect us even though we're not smokers?
My uncle smokes.
Well, that's a perfect example. Even though we're not directly smoking, we're feeling the secondhand effects of smoking. So it's still going into our lungs and making us and decreasing our lung capacity. So what we can do, for one example, is when our uncle is around us, we don't want to be mean to him, but we want to try and just separate ourselves from there and not try to be in close capacity, such as a car. Maybe lower down the window so the air can circulate more. Or if you're in the house, maybe have him step outside while he's smoking. This also decreases the concentration of the smoke. So each one of you is going to give me the three, as I discussed, the three examples of your own personal ways to benefit it. So can I have the first three boys on this side form a group? 1, 2, 3 girls form a group on that side. 1, 2, 3. Those 3 guys form a corner on this side of the gym, and these last 3 girls form a group on this side of the gym. If you need any help, I'll be walking around, and you can always ask me for help. And I'm gonna draw the my plate and the fit principles on the board again, so y'all can see and like remind yourself of the daily and requirements of our eating principle and our workout principle.